Okay.
Just a moment.
Got it.
Okay. We're good to go.
All right. Thanks very much, Chris. Okay. Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order the Finance Committee meeting of Tuesday, July 5th, 2022. It is 1:02 p.m. and we are live on a digital platform. Present, we have myself, Liz Mealy, as well as Randy Allison and Eric Biter from Williamsport City Council. And let me check. I see Council President Adam Yoder, and back there in the cheap seats. And then from the administration, I have John Sander, Chris Black from IT, Janice Frank, the city clerk, who's in kind of a funny position, Molly Steele Shrimp from HR, Derek Slaughter, our mayor, and then Peg Woodring, it would appear. Okay, so a relatively small group today. We have just 6 agenda items. And the first agenda item is an update on the city audit. Mayor Slaughter, who will be conducting that?
Yes, that's going to be Kim Stank from Zelenkowski. I asked Janice Frank if we could push that towards the end as they're finishing up another meeting right now.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
And they'll be joining us shortly.
That works. All right, then let's move on to item number 2. Mr. Sander, a resolution assigning an appraisal services for the City Hall building and property to Don Paul Scherer Associates.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. So this is obviously a couple of weeks ago, I had informed we were getting ready to take this forward, and the first appraiser had backed out. This is another appraiser who is interested in appraising the City Hall building, excuse me, for $5,000 flat fee. And his name is Don Paul Scherer Associates. He's out of the Harrisburg Camp Hill area. He has quite an impressive bio. They were looking to, if executed, have this appraisal work done in roughly 2 months, and to have a appraisal dollar figure to city administration, city council. Any other questions? Let me know.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sander. Eric, Randy, any questions?
Well, I guess I have one, John, and are they going to be at the council meeting or a representative? Or?
I did not invite them, but I can certainly invite them to see if they can come, or maybe if they can't be there in person, maybe just via Zoom, possibly.
Okay. One question I had was under scope of work, where it says that's the 5th bullet point, I think. Research necessary to develop a credible opinion of value. I just wondered what all that research might encompass. Would it encompass cost of materials and at the present time, all that kind of thing, if they're going to get that deep into it?
I'm not entirely sure, other than on face value, what it means. I can ask them to be there Thursday night, either in person or Zoom, if that's preferred. It seems like that might be a good route to take, so I can do that. I don't know if that answered that off the top of my head, Randy. I apologize.
No, not at all. No apology needed. I just that's all I wondered. I mean, it sounds like they're going to look at everything. Maybe just a little bit more of detail about the whole process, I guess.
Yep.
So maybe it would be helpful if they could have just somebody.
I will ask them. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's a good request, Randy. I do think it'd be helpful for us to understand, and frankly, John, it might be helpful for them to be part of a discussion about the building and the city's experience with the building. Do you understand what I'm saying? In terms of the city council and our hopes for the appraisal, or what we're anticipating resolving with the appraisal, which I think is a little different from simply getting a market value. Eric, did you have any questions at all?
Nothing that I don't think John will be able to answer, which is I appreciate that Randy brought that up, having them be there. So.
Yeah. The only question I had for you, John, is 8 weeks the standard? I mean, it seems to me that an appraisal usually happens much more quickly than that. But is 8 weeks standard? I mean, this is a commercial property, so it's a little different.
Yeah, the gentleman had indicated it would take about a month or two to get it, given the fact that there aren't many comparables in the area, not like a typical real estate. So given the complexity of the assignment, he figured about 2 months to get the appraisal done. So.
Okay. All right. Okay. Then I think
there was quite an impressive, I apologize, I didn't mean to interrupt. He had quite an impressive bio attached. I sent it as an attachment. It's about 10 pages worth of appraisal and realtor experience in the greater Harrisburg Camp Hill area. Where it's pretty impressive. I don't know if you guys got a chance to look at that, but it is pretty impressive, like I said. So.
Yeah, I looked at it briefly, but not being super familiar with either the Campbell area or some of the requirements for an appraiser, I'm not sure that I was particularly good at evaluating it. But it certainly seems as though they've covered a number of what I would suspect might be historic properties, given the large number of bank buildings and things like that involved in their appraisal experience. But I think that actually will be one of the questions that I'll have for them on Thursday is to what extent their experience has involved historic structures versus, non-historic structures, I suppose.
May I ask one question, Liz, if you don't mind? If in the
Sure.
event they're not able to come Thursday, would you, I guess, I'm getting the impression that everyone would like to see these folks there Thursday. If they're not able to, can we push it off 2 more weeks then until they can make it, or?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I don't think anybody, gentlemen, were you saying that you wanted to see them present in the meeting, or is Zoom an acceptable option for you?
Zoom's fine with me.
Zoom is fine with me as well.
That's how I feel. So, yeah, in the event that they're not able to participate at some point between, say, 7 and 8:30, the likely time frame of the meeting, then I guess we could push it back. But I would say as long as they can be there for a little bit, we can probably squeeze them in. And yeah, the Zoom would be a perfectly acceptable method of appearing. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I guess just one last question. The funding for this is coming from where, John?
Yeah, we had approximately $230-some thousand in City Hall operating funds.
Got it.
In the budget, in our operating budget. So I assume the 5,000 could be pulled from one of those line items that are in there. I didn't put it in this email go around, but I had it in last go around couple weeks ago. So
The $5,000 cost, it seems to me, it's just a couple $100 more than the other.
it was
quote.
the
Quote
other
that we had.
fund was 4,500, and these guys are obviously these folks are obviously 5,000. So yep.
Okay. All right. Got it. Okay. Then gentlemen, I guess I take a motion on this item.
I'd like to pass this on to the full body of council with a positive recommendation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Then just keep in touch, John, about whether or not they're going to be able to make it Thursday. Okay.
Will do.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. The next item on our agenda, pardon me here, sorry. Technical snafu, is a resolution awarding final design services to Gannett Fleming for the Brandon Park Band Show. Mr. Sander?
Yes. So a few weeks ago, myself and Gannett was at a city council meeting. They got their proposal got tabled. We since spoke and they have sent a new proposal that includes a couple more items now. Obviously, full final design services to put this project out to contractors, includes a project cost estimate, if executed today, a cost estimate of the construction now. Also, a project cost estimate at the end of final design. And then also full bidding services of the project when it's complete, when it's ready to be bid out to contractors. Everything else still applies. The fee is 47,400, which is a couple $1,000 more than before, but it does include all services basically to get this project out and built. So $47,400 to Gannett Fleming for final design, all encompassing. It would still be funded with the foundation money, so no city money for this final design. And let me know if there's any other questions.
Okay, Randy, Eric?
I guess it covers a lot of things. I noticed the humidity control scope. They're going to do an analysis of what would work, but there's no design, of course, because we would have to approve that, and so there would be an added cost were we to go with that. So we might want to keep that in the forefront of our planning. And the final opinion on the probable budget, of course, contains a couple of caveats as far as the initial opinion is just that. There may be changes in the project scope or the market conditions, which is supply and demand and inflation. So whatever they propose as a final probable budget, we probably should add some kind of contingency to that that number, because expectations are different right now. And the bidding phase, they have it, the $4,050
Yes.
amount. Is that based on an hourly assessment, or is that a flat fee? Do you know?
It's a lump sum fee for bidding of the project, not hourly. And it also included attending if I'm not mistaken, attending a meeting, a
Right.
pre-bid meeting. Essentially, every project, not every project, but a lot of projects warrant a pre-bid meeting for contractors to come and ask questions, have their questions answered. I do it a lot online, but having it in person is absolutely perfectly fine too. I like to do it online because it keeps lets everyone see all the questions and answers, but obviously doing it in person is perfectly acceptable as well. So
Yeah. Okay. So it'd be the same cost whether you do it online or they come personally.
I'm gonna assume I haven't executed a project with Gannett yet, but I'm going to guess the form they use to bid the project is in fact as an electronic based forum that will have a questions and answers. In addition to that, they're going to have a pre-bid meeting at a city building.
Okay.
In addition to that,
So does that seem like a reasonable fee? I'm not that familiar with.
yes, it does. I think when we asked Vice President from Gannett a few weeks ago, he was about double that at least. So I think they've tried to come down a little bit in their cost a little bit.
Okay.
It seems as though.
All right. Thanks. That's all I have for right now.
John, would it be possible within the next day or two to take a trip out there just to get an idea of what that room looks like, specifically with that the handicap lift, where that may be placed, and then the humidity controls that they're going to have to be looking at. I'm just curious as to what that space looks like and
Sure.
how it feels.
Me or you or me and you, or I mean,
I'd like to go out there. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
I would appreciate it if you could be there so you could answer any
Absolutely.
questions that I had.
I'd like to do that as well.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that, Eric, when I was looking at this before, that that would be one of my questions for them is how is that going to affect the layout of the main structure, the main floor structure, where we have all kinds of different performers, sometimes the symphony and all that. I just trying to visualize how that would all.
Well, just to be clear, the vertical wheelchair lift would be backstage of the actual.
Okay, that'll be all the way behind. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I talked about a wall being built in association with that.
Correct. And I've been in it a couple times. Gannett's been in obviously the band shell several times. In addition to that, they have a you've seen them if maybe I didn't open them up, but they have about a 50% plan set developed right now. And what they actually do when they first got here a year or two ago is they put a 3D scanner in the band shell itself in multiple places, and it scans the entire inside surface. And they have it's like a very accurate and easy way to do a field survey as opposed to doing field survey in the traditional sense. They did that inside and outside of the band shell, so they have a complete 3D color view of the band shell inside and out. So, but yes, we can to get back to your point. Yes, I would love to get into the band shell the next day or two to see this in person. That's no problem at all.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Sorry for jumping all over your question, Eric.
No, I appreciate it. I thought that we could all benefit from it.
Yep.
Yeah, great idea, Eric.
Yeah, I think getting some eyeballs on that would be a good idea, Eric, as well. In fact, if you guys want to, I don't know that I'll be able to make the tour, but if you're going, why don't you let all of us know what time? And perhaps I'll join you too. So John, we will still need to hire someone for construction management then?
Correct. That's correct. And there's a lot of projects going on, or either going on or soon to be going on in the city. Me and some other folks have been discussing the real possibility of hiring a construction manager, construction inspection firm, because we have a lot that are coming up in the very near future. So, but as of right now, no, there's no construction inspection with this contract. No.
Okay, got it. All right, so they're getting us through to the point where we have somebody to start construction, but then we need to make sure that we have somebody to deal with construction management. John, what was the previous number for this contract? Was it 41, 42?
42, I think it was 42, yeah.
Okay.
42, 43, something like that.
Got it. Okay. All righty. Yeah, I personally continue to worry that we're paying a bunch of money for engineering so that we will in the long run not be able to afford to do anything with the band shell. but hopefully that turns out not to be the case. I guess at least I was on the fence about whether we even needed an initial opinion of the probable budget, but it will certainly be helpful in terms of figuring out how we're going to pay for this. So
just keep in mind, Liz, I want to point out one item. I mean, even if obviously we're going to be taking some away from construction for design, but we do have millions and millions of dollars in our rescue plan money need to be spent in a very short amount of time. So keep that at the forefront as well. So
I'm aware of that. Thanks, John. Okay. All right. Guys, I think you covered most of my questions. And like I said, if and when you guys do tour the facility, please let me know, because I'd like to be there if possible. If I don't hear any other questions, I would take a motion.
I'll make a motion. We pass it to full body of council with a positive recommendation.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. John, just for the record, in future, I'd like to see us bidding out work like this. I think that the discussion on this item probably led you to that conclusion already, but it would. I think we're more likely, of course, if we put an RFP out, to be certain that we're getting, not to have to negotiate with the contractor after the fact, as we did in this case, to make sure that the bidding and everything's included. And I also think, of course, that we'll hopefully get a good price that way.
And that's me, like, just typically I do that. I currently have 4 or 5 projects out for bid on Ben bid. Some of them are projects, some of them are services, but given the fact that Gannett has already done a lot of the design work and a lot of the analysis ahead of time, it doesn't feel right. It seems like a waste of time and money to put it back out and award it to someone else. That was my rationale on this one. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Moving on. Item number 4, a resolution to purchase microphones and equipment for Williamsport City Council. Chris Black, you're on the docket today.
Yeah, a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
What you have before you is basically a resolution to buy some microphones, like it says. These are going to be replacing the ones that are currently on the desktops, which we all know are not pulling their stuff. Shopped around a little bit. These are fairly good quality, but no name type microphones. Mr. Allison and I were talking earlier, the equivalent of these from like Shure is about 3 times as much. Availability of them is sketchy. So it's kind of like buy it when you can. So that's why we're putting this forward now.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Randy, Eric, questions about this?
Seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
People need to be able to understand us when we speak at our meetings.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Chris, do we know what's going on with the other microphones?
The diaphragms have been pretty much destroyed by the environment of Old City Hall. That and they've lived their life pretty much.
I don't remember. It seems to me they're Randy, 6 years old?
Oh,
Like this.
at least, yeah.
Okay. All right.
But they definitely, I mean, when we were in City Hall, remember, sometimes it'd be freezing in that room and sometimes it would be super hot. So they were exposed to.
And I think all in all, other than very recently, it's been a very dry environment in there, which is not all that good for them.
Got it. Well, there's several things I didn't know about microphones here.
Oh, I can teach you lots.
Well, feel free, but it might not be a benefit
Not
right
today.
Okay, but we do believe that these are obviously high quality and will be with us for at least several years. Correct, Chris?
Yes. Now they don't carry a warranty like a Shure microphone will, but they're also a third the price.
Mhm.
Got it. Yeah. So
I did give a look-see on their website, and yeah, they're pretty decent. They're rated well, but it did say out of stock. I was going to ask you about that, Chris, for that.
Yeah, it's another one of those things. The 650 is a little bit more than the highest price that I've seen on anywhere for them. So if the 650 is approved and Amazon doesn't have them, but say B&H Photo does for a lesser amount,
Right.
I feel I should be able to just grab it at that point, considering the amount has been approved.
Right.
yeah, I would think that should be okay. You are right that the online economy does change a lot of the legal mumbo jumbo associated with all of this, huh, Chris?
Yeah.
You probably ought to run it past the solicitor on Thursday just to make sure that if we authorize a purchase from Amazon or you wind up purchasing elsewhere,
Oh, okay. Sure.
we should
Definitely.
change that language. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or actually, I guess, could you between now and then run it past the solicitor just to make sure that say something like purchase of 12 microphones from Amazon or similar, something like that.
Or if I just say purchase of 12 microphones with a not to exceed amount.
I think that should be acceptable. I mean, we can have the conversation on Thursday night too. It'll take 5 minutes with the solicitor just to make that we shouldn't be more specific than that, and also that we shouldn't be less. You know what I mean?
Yeah, open-ended enough, but not too much.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, okay, guys, if you don't have any other questions about this, I would take a motion.
I make a motion to pass this on to the full body of council with a positive recommendation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and Chris, you're back for item number 5, a resolution for a franchise agreement between the city of Williamsport and Comcast of the Southeast LLC.
Yes, this is a renewal of the original agreement that was put in, it was either 2005 or 2008, and was never renewed between then and now. It's basically the same thing. Some of the amounts are different. It's we will be receiving 5% of the fees charged to individuals that have cable TV service in their home. This does not cover internet. So if, for example, you had just streaming services into your house and you're using Hulu or what have you, as opposed to regular Comcast cable selection, that is not included in this. That's the way the federal government worded it that long ago, to be specifically to cable television, and they're sticking to that.
Got it.
Sounds like we need new legislation.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Rather. You're sure that this hasn't been renewed since 2008?
That's what I'm being told.
Randy, don't you?
Both Comcast and the city clerk.
Okay. Well,
It may have come up for review a couple of times, but I'm told it was never voted on or approved, because I found documentation going back, maybe 2-3 years ago, but I don't think it was ever brought to council.
Certainly discussed it 2 or 3 years ago, and then I think our former IT director departed, and I didn't recollect that we'd ever gotten around to it back then. Did you, Randy? But I certainly thought we'd done it since 2008. I thought we'd done it. I thought we had renewed this agreement under my tenure on council, and I was not an elected official in 2008.
Yeah, I recall that, but I couldn't give a date to it, but we did at one point look at it.
I mean, I guess it's a moot point.
Yeah. And this is something that Comcast likes to have done at least every 5 years.
Got it.
Just to keep things fresh.
And help me to remember, because a lot of these agreements do kind of slide around in my head a bit, Chris.
Sure.
A couple of years ago, when we were discussing it with the former head of IT, what we were looking at was increasing the like kind of maxing out the fee that we could charge to Comcast, it seems to me, unless you recollect that being another utility, Randy, and I'm off base here.
Well, it does say in the one section, and I forget where it is, but that we're 5% of the gross.
Yeah.
And we can't 5% of the gross compared, that's our highest we can go.
Yeah. So Chris, is that different from the prior agreement?
The last one was 3.
Okay. Yeah. So that is what I was thinking of. All right. Okay.
And that's section 711, if you're curious.
Okay.
Are there any other differences between this agreement and prior year agreements?
The only other differences is on Exhibit A, which is the very last page. It's just the number of places that have the cable service run into. We had to remove the items that are now currently RBTA or the water authority or what have you that were included previously.
Ah,
Okay,
Parking authority, probably not the water authority, but probably the parking authority.
got it. And does that, I'm just trying to think about what impact that would have. Will they then execute their own agreements with Comcast or?
No, we can just call them up and get it.
Got it.
But again, it's only for cable TV service. It's
Right.
not for internet.
Right. Yeah, which lets me out. I'm not contributing to any of this, I suppose. Anybody else, but okay. All right. Well, I'm glad to see that we're finally taking care of this. Sorry to see it's taken us this long. But any other questions from anyone else?
I don't.
Okay.
No,
Then hearing nothing else, I take a motion, guys.
I'll make a motion, we pass this to the full body of council with a positive recommendation.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And Chris, you're officially off the hook here.
Yeah, yeah. Not quite though. The mayor asked me to state that he is at an appointment with his children. But I do see that Ms. Stank is here for the audit.
Yeah, I do see that. Hello, Ms. Stank. Are you prepared to update us?
Hello, how is everybody today?
Good. How are you?
How are you doing?
Good. So unfortunately, the audit has been a very slow moving process. I didn't want to have to report this to you, but unfortunately has been. We have sent out a list of things that we have requested multiple times. And am I able to share a screen?
That's a question for Chris. I believe so.
Just a moment.
Okay, it looks like it's disabled. I just was going to show you. It's an Excel format, and I don't want to go individually item by item, but there's a significant amount of things that we have not received from the finance office.
Ms.
So
Stank, you should have a share screen option now at the bottom of your screen.
thank you. All right, so here is the listing, and you can see the things on the very right-hand side that are yellow. This is the list of things that we have not yet received for the 2019 audit. So until we receive some of those things, it's kind of holding us up. I have talked to the mayor, and he has indicated that Tracy Rash is going to be working with you guys, and that's fantastic. And I very much look forward to working with her to get some of these things moving along. And hopefully with her transition in, we will be able to get this audit moving and completed.
Okay. Got it. So effectively, the update is you still need a bunch of material to get things started, correct? Then I look forward to you receiving that material here as soon as possible, I suppose. I guess we're in the difficult position of the other person who would need to be a party to this conversation is Derek, and he is on this appointment because I think the questions then are really for the administration, what their timeline is in terms of implementing this new member of the finance department and what, how quickly they expect to have that information available.
Yeah, and she and I actually have chatted a little bit. We've gone back and forth, and we plan to have a long discussion. I have worked not really side by side with her in the past, but I know of her, and she will be fantastic for you guys. So
okay, oh great,
it's wonderful.
good. All right, excellent. Then hey Adam, as long as we've got Ms. Stank on the line, Adam Yoder, you out there?
Yep. How's it going?
Good. Hey, do you want Zelenovsky at the Thursday meeting for any reason?
I mean, we can, but I mean, essentially the update is we need more information. I mean, I don't know what.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. That doesn't strike me as a worthwhile update.
No, I don't think so either. Who's Tracy?
She's an individual. I don't know what her company is, but she is, I believe, going to start working with the city in the finance department.
Oh, you mean as like a contractor? Sorry, Kim, this is the first we're hearing of this.
Yeah,
Oh, I apologize.
worries.
I'm not sure.
not your fault.
I am not sure if it's going to be as a contractor. I don't know the arrangement.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, we'll look forward to an update on that here shortly. Randy, do you have an insight?
Well, then could we, without Kim being there or anybody from Zellenkowski, perhaps we could have a discussion Thursday night on some of this stuff, or at least we need to have a discussion with the administration in
I
the
would
interim anyhow of some sort.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Randy. Adam, do you think maybe you could set that up?
Yeah, we can set it up. That's fine. I mean, we can just simply get an update at the end of the meeting. It shouldn't be anything overly onerous. I mean, again, with the update being, there's a bunch of documentation that's needed. I mean, this is really an administration question. And I think the transition in the finance office is going to answer a lot of these questions. And I think we need to know what that looks like. I mean, if it's going to be contracted, we need to get that contract in front of us ASAP. So
I'd like to know, I'm not saying if there are any legal implications that need to be addressed, we could always consider that in the interim.
You mean try and put something on the agenda before Thursday, Randy? Sorry, I'm not.
If it rises to the level of executive session.
I think that might be wise too, Adam. Okay.
Kim, can you share that list with us?
Sure.
Could we get a copy of that as well?
I think that would be helpful.
Sure. Can I email it to somebody?
To Janice Frank, city clerk at city. Janice, your email address is still cityclerk@cityofwilliamsport.com, correct?
cityclerk@cityofwilliamsport.org.
Org. Oh, geez. Thanks, Janice.
Sure.
Correct phone numbers. Once you save them into your system, that's it.
Yeah, and just that is truly a preliminary list of this is what we typically need. There's probably things on there that don't apply. And there's also things on there that we haven't added yet because it's one of those, because you have this, we'll need to ask for that. So it's not an all-encompassing list. It is our starting point. And a lot of things, once we get items from that list, then we dig in farther and say, we've gotten a bank reconciliation. We need to look at this and this and this from the bank reconciliation. We've gotten a list of expenditures. We need to look at this and this from those expenditures. So it's not, if you give me everything on the list, we're done. It's give me everything on the list. And then we're able to begin these areas of the audit. We'll be testing, we'll be doing this, but we try to make it kind of as comprehensive as we can, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. And right. And I think we all understand that you dig into something and you discover that the information you thought you needed is not quite the information you needed after all.
Right. Well, and that's, in any audit, that's what we do. We, give me an entire list of expenditures. I'm going to ask for support for those expenditures.
Yeah. You got it. Okay. Then we would appreciate having a copy of that, Kim. And if we need any further information from you, I'm assuming we'll be in contact with you. But is there anything else that anyone wanted to know from Kim today? Hearing nothing, then I think we can consider this closed at this point, and we will work with the administration to figure out a plan to get you that documentation ASAP. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Like him. Yep. All right. That completes the finance agenda with the exception of item number 6, I believe, any related items. Does anyone have anything further to put
I
forth?
do not.
I don't.
I have about 8 million things, but I don't believe there's any answer. So
You reduce one.
and I'll pursue that information through other avenues. But anyway,
Synopsis them when you're done.
okay, I will, all right, in that case, I would take a motion to adjourn, please, guys.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thanks a lot, and I'll see everyone on Thursday.
Thank you. Good job.
Yeah. Yeah. See ya.
Take care.